Well, it's a new month and we have a new fabulous folded set of cutting dies. This is Mason Jar pop-up box card, as you can see by the words right there. And let me show you what that looks like. Well, you can see that there's one on the package, which we always do, but this is also what it can look like. So it is, when it's flat, 3 3/4 inches, and then you can make it as tall as you want. This one tends to be about 5 inches tall, so it's going to fit perfectly in our regular envelopes that are made for a 5 by 6.5 inch card. Now, you also are going to need, as always, the extra sticky tape, the kind with that liner, and a bone folder, because those are just going to make everything work better. Now, there are 9 cutting dies, and by the way, you can use a regular die cutting machine like a Big Shot or a Gemini Junior. Everything is going to work perfectly. So let me show you. There are, as I said, 9 dies, and here they are. There is the mason jar. There is the crossbar, which is also kind of part of the mason jar, and then there are all of these flowers, some leaves, as well as a label. So all of those are part of it, and there is also a jar lid. My goodness, my jar lid is gone away, but let me show you what they look like when they're cut out of paper. So this has been cut out of the paper that is the hammered gold. Here is that crossbar. Here are 2. You need to cut out 2 of these, and that's the lid, and then some flowers. So we'll talk about the flowers in a minute, but let me just do the construction of this. So all of the instructions are right there on the back of the package. Easy to find, easy to reference. There are illustrations done by our Jeanette, and just step by step. But sometimes it's nice to see it in person. So you're going to cut out 2 of these, 1 of this, 1 of the lid, and then as many flowers and leaves as you want. And by the way, you don't just have to use those with this card. You can use them for other places. Now you're going to take the full mason jars and fold them back along that score line. You'll also put the extra sticky tape, remember, we talked about that. This is the 1/4 inch, by the way, just right along the score line. So you've got it there, you've got it there, and you've got it on both sides of what we call the crossbar. So these are going to just go together, and we're going to fold that back. That is a mountain fold. And we're also going to fold this tab back, and that's going to be done on every single one of them. Then to attach this, we're going to turn this one over, pull off the tape, and position it on that other piece so that they line up perfectly. So you can kind of do it like this, and then remove that tape. And so that's going to go. I guess maybe I could do that, couldn't I? Okay. And there we go. And the only tricky thing about this is you just want to make sure that it's even and that they are straight. So I'll set that there and position this like so. Okay, so then you've got that swinging. This is going to get folded and tucked and positioned right on the other side. So then you've got part of your mason jar. Now this part is going to go on the inside, and obviously it's going to match that top of the lid. So you'll fold those back, remove the sticky, and position it like so. And that is how it's going to look. Now, when you want to do the jar lid, cut it out of, well, we've got several examples for you. As I said, this is the hammered gold, and it's going to get glued right on top. Now, for the flowers, you know, I think I'll just go right into the first project, because Teresa has a wonderful style that she does with many things, and I want to share that with you. So here we go. As I showed you, now she has used the silver cardstock for her jar lid, and I just think that looks really, really good. Now she did use regular cardstock, and let me bring that out and just show you what she used. This happens to be the Teacups and Roses cardstock, and you can see why she chose this, because of all the colors. She kept her mason jar blue, as you can see, and used the yellow for the label, the flowers. The flowers are out of cardstock, but more importantly and more fun, they're out of the Teacups and Roses 6x6 pattern paper. This has lots of, well, as you can see, it's got some plaids, it's got some fern-looking vines, it's just got all kinds of things that just work really nicely with the flowers. Now, the other thing that Teresa did, and the thing that I want to share with you, is something I'm sure you know, but just to be sure. Now, these are the ink pads that she used. So, on the yellow, she used Honey Pot. On the pink, she used Plum Jam. On the blue, she used Midnight. And on the green, she used Pine Tree. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's just do the pine tree, okay? So here I have one of the leaves that she die cut. This happens to be just out of cardstock, but as I said, she did it out of the Teacups and Roses. So I'm just gonna open this up. I think I'll take the smaller brush and just go like this. And going from the, this is a craft mat, going from the craft mat over onto the die cut piece, just going to bring it. And what that does, and it might be a little tricky to see, well, maybe you can see it. It's just going to give a shadow to the outside petals and gives them a bit of definition. And it does it in a way that is just easy to do, number one, but it looks great. So let me just show you. Okay, let me get these out of the way. So that's what she did with every single piece, including the jar. So I'll scoot this away, and here is the green before, or the leaf, and there it is after. So you can see the shadows that are there. It just makes it look a more dimensional, and I think that's a great technique. It really just takes a moment. You can do the same thing with the flowers, and you're going to see it on, I think, everything that Teresa has done today, and it's just a good technique. So blending brushes, you can use the sponge daubers, but it just works really nicely. And as you can see, so she's got the label has done out of green. This is out of the paper pack. It is a cutout. You see all the flowers, so couple here, here, and she's cut those leaves so that she's got some smaller pieces, so you don't have to just use the big ones. On the center section, she's got a little bit larger flowers, so two there, and then she's placed several in the back, and then she also has another cutout, so that worked very nicely. Now, the silver she put on the front, she didn't put any on the back, but you could. She did make kind of a post to let this attach to, so I thought that was fun. She did use the white ribbon to tie a bow and zod it in place. The other thing she used in the center of her flowers, and I'm sure you're seeing that sparkle, is our silver jewel dazzles, and comes in 3 different sizes, 540 on a sheet, and it matches the silver quite nicely, but it just adds a bit of shine. Now, this is kind of the typical thing that you would think of doing with this cutting die, but aha, what else can you do? Well, let's see what Teresa has done, and I think this is just doggone brilliant. Okay, she has taken the mason jar, cut off the flaps, and made it into a jar, and it's holding some seashells. And this is from our At the Shore collection. So how neat is that? Now let's talk about that mason jar. Now, Teresa said that at first she was going to do vellum, but she found that the vellum was just a bit more opaque, and she certainly could have used it, but she really wanted those die cut shells to show a little bit more. So she die cut out the mason jar. As I said, she trimmed off that edge. Then she cut it out of acetate and also trimmed out the edge. Now, she did our trick with the blending brushes, and she used, let me see, she used ocean blue on the edge of the blue cardstock. By the way, let me show you where all of this came from. And it came from the At the Shore paper collection that was just released this year, and the At the Shore solid cardstock. You can see all of those blues and teals and greens, and also tans to go with the shells. And she has used, so she has done the coloring, And when she did the At the Shore papers, she tore the papers, as you can see, and then overlapped them and left a little bit so she could tuck the mason jar in there. And the mason jar, I found, is just really a favorite. It's just so useful. I always think of it maybe with some fairies on the inside. You could use our fairy dazzles, but lots of things that you can do with that. So she has layered these, tucked this in. She die cut the jar lid out of the hammered silver. And we talked about the hammered gold in the opening. In fact, that's what that looks like after it is die cut. It takes away a little bit of the hammering, but you still get that dimension. And she did use jute to go around the top of it, so that does a nice job with any seashore type of thing. And as you can see on this, she did put the extra sticky tape right along the jar lid, placed it on top of the inked mason jar, and then tucked the seashells along the inside and put the silver jar lid on top, and that can be attached also with the extra sticky tape, so all of those layers. Now the other thing that she has is on the inside of her card. Well, let me finish the front. She has the happy birthday. That is with the script greetings. This is the pastels and pearls. And I can just show you. This is quite a generous collection, and you can see the pearl colors, the pastel colors, and she's done happy birthday up there. You can see the solid cardstock right there. I didn't show you the cutting dies, so there you go. So lots of seashells, 1, 2, 3, 4. You also get the lighthouse as well as a lantern and some seagulls if you want to use those. On the inside of her card, this is, by the way, a regular 5 by 6.5 inch card. So that mason jar is just really a very nice size. And on the inside, this is one of the patterned cardstock. As you can see, she's torn it, inked the edges again. This is one of the cutouts and more of the die-cut seashells, a little bit of inking on the edges of those, of course. Celebrate is one of the script greetings. So all of that is just done. And as a matter of fact, your freebie this time is a sheet of the acetate and the silver cardstock, a sheet of the silver cardstock that she used on our first card. So I just thought that acetate would be fun for you to play with. Okay, I have one more card. So what else did the woman do? Well, let me show you. Get these out of the way. And this is a card with a belly band. There you go, right around the edge. And this is using our window view papers. This is a gatefold card. So you know, just lay your card flat, bring the ends to the center, don't overlap them. And then on the inside, voila, we have a mason jar just popping out. Now this mason jar, can you see the kind of bluish tinge on it? Well, it was die cut out of the soft blueberry Miri cardstock that we get from Hunky Dory. So really, really pretty. And the top of it was done out of that gold hammered that we talked about earlier. And the window view, in fact, let me just bring in those papers. She used the 12 by 12 window view. Notice the cat. The cat wasn't used in this project, but you can see there are lots of papers that were. And then she also used the window view cardstock. Now it's got a lot of beautiful colors, and you can see how nicely those have gone on the inside of her mason jar and on the front. So you're going to put the papers on both of the gatefolds. We've got some dazzles, the thin line dazzles at the top and the bottom. I hope you can see the shine of those. And then on the inside, after she die cut and made her mason jar, she simply glued it to the inside edge of that gatefold. So it will pop open and it will stay open also. So isn't that just really pretty? I love the color. So vellum, acetate, regular cardstock, and don't forget the specialty cardstocks. This is the Miri, which is a very shiny, and you can see how the flowers are, and you can see down below, we will give you, Teresa has written all the instructions. You can see all of the ink pads that she's used, and all of these are from Crafter's Companion. So here is another piece of the window view paper, more of the thin line dazzles. And on the center of these dazzles, on that first one she used the silver jewel. Well, this time she used the copper jewel. So just gives a different look. She also used, you can see, Get Better Quick. I think that's a nice thing to do on your label. And on the belly band, she's got, this is one of the cutouts from the paper pad, more of the flowers. Like I said, they don't have to just go with the mason jar. And she's used the tiny words and phrases. And it comes in black, white, gold, silver as a package. And you can see she's used silver as been her accent all along. And when you're doing the belly band, you just want to make sure that it's going to slide nicely over your card. Sorry, I just have to be able to get from the doctor. So now you have 3 wonderful ideas, and I'm counting on you to come up with some others. So this is our mason jar pop-up box card, got all of that. Now, if you are interested in getting our Fabulous Folded cards every single month, we have an idea. We call it the Fabulous Folded subscription. Isn't that just brilliant? And every month you will receive that cutting die. You will receive it before the webisode so that you can craft along with us if you want to. You will also receive a discount, and you will receive the free goodie. Now the free goodie this time, as I mentioned, is a sheet of the acetate, okay? So you can do that mason jar, and a sheet of the silver cardstock, the silver metallic cardstock. So those 2 things will come with your cutting die with an extra discount. And if you are just buying them individually, like you know, using that money saver on the right side of your screen, you will also get a special savings. So that will take care of you. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank Teresa for her wonderful creativity and for showing us not only just one way that you can use these dies, but multiple ways. That just makes the investment all that much better to do. If you are watching this on YouTube, please click down below, head on over to paperwishes.com, take advantage of the savings. And by the way, you can go right down below. You're going to see 3 cards. You can click on any of them. It will give you the directions on the right side. You can print them off if you want to. You can do whatever you want, but they're always there from Teresa, just for you. And I want to thank you so much for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you next time.